Well, hey, I am so glad you're with me for part two of today's SummitCast 2025. Did you know that today, July 24th, is International Self-Care Day? Yes, it is. And I am so glad to be doing this SummitCast with you today. This Summit Cast is a part of my Dear Future Me leadership tour that's happening the rest of 2025. I am super excited about it. It's going to be phenomenal. And I would tell you more about it, but that would spoil all the fun. But we're leading up to something big in 2026. So you definitely want to add me to your favorites. You want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You want to follow me on social media. You want to make sure that you know my every move. You need to be tracking me because something great is coming down the line. But today is that day of our Summit Cast, and I am so excited about it because our Dear Future Me leadership tour is a movement to realign women in ministry and leadership with their divine assignment without sacrificing their well-being. And so let's talk about something that many don't want to admit, and that is rest is spiritual. And yet, far too many anointed women are running on fumes because they've mistaken grind for godliness. In this segment of the Summit Cast, we're talking specifically to the anointed but exhausted leader, where ministry fatigue and associates with the myth of martyrdom. And we're going to talk about this in depth today. It's one of my favorite topics because I think we overlook some things when we talk about ministry effectiveness. So are you ready? Let's jump in. So in Genesis chapter 2, verse 2, we're told on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. Now, if God, the creator of the universe, took a moment to stop, why are we afraid to? Let me be clear. Rest is not a luxury for lazy people. It's a rhythm designed by God to sustain his leaders. Many high-achieving women in ministry find themselves in spiritual burnout, not because they don't love God, but because they've internalized a theology of works that tells them to keep going no matter what. We spiritualize exhaustion. We equate busyness with faithfulness. But scripture reminds us it is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. That's in Psalm 127:2. I didn't write that. God did. So when I consult with ministry leaders, I assess their rest rhythms before I ever look at their productivity, because imbalance is often spiritual, not strategic. You're not just tired in your body, you're weary in your soul. So here's some key strategies I want to share with you today. Create sacred Sabbaths in your leadership calendar on purpose. Yes, these are non-negotiable times of rest and replenishment. Another strategy is to honor your physical temple through rest, sleep, and restoration, not just spiritual disciplines. I know you're doing all the things. You're praying, you're fasting, you're reading, you're studying. I get all of that. This is not that conversation. This is about taking care of you so that you can last for the journey. Another strategy is to stop glamorizing the grind. You can be effective and rested all at the same time. But imagine leading from a place of overflow instead of depletion. Imagine preaching without bitterness, serving without burnout, waking up without dreading the day. That's what sacred rhythms unlock. So you weren't created to grind, you were created to glorify, and that requires rest. Let's take a short break, but when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about what happens when you love God, but you're tired of people. Stay tuned. I know you're faithful to the mission, but somewhere between pouring out and showing up, your fire started to flicker. What if your next level didn't require more hustle, just more alignment? In the executive deep dive, we strip away the noise and realign you with God's original instruction. You'll walk away clear, grounded, and confident, ready to lead from a place of wholeness, not weariness. This is your moment to move differently. There are only 5 spots available for the executive deep dive. Reserve yours now at the link in the comments or the show notes. I'll see you there. All right. Welcome back to this second segment of our 12 p.m. Central Time session on the anointed but exhausted leader. And so this is specifically for our lady leaders in ministry, whether you're a pastor's wife or even a pastor, or you're in a senior level ministry role. It's okay. I am here for you, and we are going to get through this together. So in this segment of our SummitCast, which is a part of our Dear Future Me leadership tour, we're going to dig deep. Yeah, we are. So buckle up, put your safety belt on. Here we go. So let's be honest. Ministry would be easy if it weren't for the people. I know you just didn't want to say that, but here I said it for you. Ministry would be easy if it weren't for the people. But you and I both know ministry is people. So how do we survive that? You can be deeply called, anointed, and committed to the kingdom and still feel emotionally depleted from constant demands, betrayal, immaturity, entitlement, and unrealistic expectations. Even Jesus in Mark 6:31 said to his disciples, "Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place and rest a while." You're not giving up. He said, rest a while. For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat. They were too busy to eat, y'all. Does that sound familiar? Ministry leaders today are often running churches, counseling marriages, navigating trauma, launching businesses, raising kids, and expected to do it all with a smile and a sermon. But this is not sustainable. Here's what I tell my consulting clients. When you're emotionally bankrupt, your discernment decreases, your compassion becomes conditional, and your vision gets cloudy. But I've got some strategies for you that I believe will help you if you apply them. You know, my bishop often says that we can read the word all we want to, we can hear the preached word all we want to, but where there is no application, none of that serves us any good. So here are some strategies that you can apply to your life today. Establish people boundaries. Everyone doesn't get access to your time, your presence, or your energy, even if they're in the pew. This is important. You're not neglecting your congregation. You're trying to preserve your oil, preserve your energy and your strength so that you can continue to serve. You love your people. You love the people that God has assigned to your hands. You know that you would do anything for them, but you can't do a thing for them if you're broke down, burnt out, and exhausted. The second strategy is differentiate between divine assignment and people pleasing. Woo! Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, the hat, and the bag. Let me tell you, many, many years ago, I remember going through a situation where I literally made myself physically ill. Literally, I'd be more graphic, but you get the point. I was physically ill because I was trying to please somebody that I later realized I couldn't please them. You do know you can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time, right? Please get that. And I made myself so sick, and God spoke to me and let me know that I wasn't sinning. I was just disappointing. I wasn't doing what was liked or preferred. Big difference. Big difference. Let God walk you through that. I want to keep going here because it's important as ministry leaders that we understand the difference between a divine assignment and people pleasing. Let me just give you a verse to go along with my story. God directed me to that verse in Numbers, I believe chapter 14, where it says, if God delights in us, then he will bring us into the land that flows with milk and honey. And you know, God spoke to me and said, if you put even half as much effort into pleasing him as I did trying to please others, I wonder how much further along in my walk with God I would be. Sit with that for a minute. I know I sure did. So just because they ask doesn't mean God assigned it. Another strategy is to recalibrate your inner circle. You know that inner circle like Jesus had, Peter, James, and John? You may need to recalibrate your inner circle. Ministry is sacred. Your closest relationships must pour back into you, not just pull from you. Proverbs 4:23 says this, keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Protect your heart. Not only, not out of fear, but because your calling flows from it. It's not a fear factor here, but your calling flows from your heart. So you need to protect it at all costs. Picture this. You leave the pulpit full instead of frustrated. You delegate with peace. You create without resentment. You show up for your family, not just your followers. That's what healthy people stewardship looks like. You can love God and still need boundaries. When we return, I'm going to unpack one of the most silent struggles among ministry leaders, and that is when serving God starts to silence you. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. You've poured into people, led faithfully, but lately you crave clarity. Not more noise, but alignment. Not just strategy, but spirit-led structure. I'm Dr. Rhonda Simmons, and in your executive deep dive, we'll make space for what God whispered, so you can stop questioning the call and start moving in peace, purpose, and overflow. Because the woman you're becoming doesn't second guess her assignment. She builds with heaven's blueprint in hand. There are only 5 seats available in the Executive Deep Dive, so reserve yours today by clicking the link in the comments or the show notes. Well, all right. Did you make it back? I hope you did, because I am ready. I'm so excited about this SummitCast. This has been a wonderful experience for me, and I hope that you're getting lots and lots of value out of it. If so, make sure you drop a note in the comments. Let me know that you're here. I promise you, I will respond to you. So in this last segment of our Anointed but Exhausted Leader, let's talk about when serving silences you. This is the one most don't talk about publicly. This is the one topic that they don't talk about. So let's talk about the ministry mask. Yes, the mask. The pressure to perform, even when you're in pain. The habit of hiding your humanity to keep the image intact. You know, many women in ministry feel like they can't speak up about the pressure they face because it might make them appear less spiritual or less strong or less suited for the role. But let me remind you of Jeremiah 20, verse 9. Then I said, I will not mention of him, nor speak any more in his name. But his word was in mine heart as a burning fire shut up in my bones. Even the prophets had breaking points. When you feel silenced by the very thing that once gave you voice, it's time to pause and reset. Not give up, just pause and reset. So like my other segments, I've got some strategies for you, but it's up to you to apply them. The first one is develop safe spaces. This is why private consulting is so powerful and so important to you. You need safe places where you can be fully you without the platform. That's important. The second strategy is reclaim your identity. You are not just a minister, not just a wife, not just a mother or a counselor. You are you, and that matters to God. The third strategy is practice transparent leadership. Not everyone deserves access to your process, but you do deserve a life where you can breathe and breathe freely. Galatians 1:10 says this, for do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet pleased men, I should not be the servant of Christ. You cannot fully serve Christ and constantly seek to preserve an image that's killing you. Imagine leading without the mask. Imagine testifying from a healed place, not a hidden one. Imagine being fully seen, fully heard, and still deeply respected. That's the life God has for you. Not just a platform, but peace. You know, I'm concerned with so many ministers today. They're seeking platforms that God didn't call them to. They're seeking platforms that they didn't build. They're seeking the wrong things in ministry. When God says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. He didn't say come to a platform. He said, come to me. That's what Jesus said. So we're going to take a final break, but don't leave. Don't leave. I'm not done. There's more to unpack in the next session of the Self-Care SummitCast and more freedom for your future. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back at the top of the hour. You're gifted. You're called. You're appointed. But the truth of the matter is your calendar is full and your cup is empty. That's not how kingdom leadership is meant to feel. My faith-based consulting is where purpose meets practical strategy. We'll redesign your rhythm, renew your passion, and elevate your capacity without sacrificing your sanity. After our executive deep dive, clients say, I finally feel like I'm leading from rest, not rushing. And that's exactly what I want for you. This is your invitation to stop grinding and start governing with God's peace leading the way. Book your executive deep dive today by clicking on the link in the comments or the show notes.